Hello there, Homeschool Nolan here to help you navigate learning in the digital age. Are books obsolete? As a child of the 80s who grew up enjoying books, it somewhat pains me to ask this question, but there's no denying that people today are reading fewer books. Just last week, I visited the famous Suzzallo Library at the University of Washington. For those of you who haven't been there, it has a beautiful, quiet study room that looks straight out of a Harry Potter movie. The walls are lined with beautiful books. And one thing I couldn't help noticing is that just about every student in that library was surrounded by books, but was looking at a laptop instead of reading a book. No wonder I've seen headlines such as the elite college students who can't read books, or there's a very good reason college students don't read anymore. Now, me and my wife, we've surrounded our three kids with books at home. But to my dismay, I rarely see them opening up a book on their own and read for pleasure. They, of course, prefer to look at screens. So that begs the question, are books obsolete? And is that necessarily a bad thing? Now, when I say books, I mean physical printed books, not digital ones that you can read on say, an e-reader. That said, I don't think books are obsolete. And in this video, I want to talk about the important role old-fashioned books can still play in the world of AI and digital learning. But first, why are people reading fewer books than before? Now, one obvious reason is the internet. The internet provides just about everything that books did for us before: entertainment, information, and the dissemination of knowledge. Unlike books, the internet seems infinite and convenient, offering dynamic and unlimited choices of content. But more importantly, the internet also provides more up-to-date information. Now, as somebody working in the tech industry, I used to rely on books when I wanted to learn a new programming language or a new technology. But in the age of AI, the most up-to-date information can sometimes only be found online in white papers, blogs, and YouTube videos. But the internet has done more than just give us an alternative to books. It has also fundamentally rewired our brains. 15 years ago, Nicholas Carr wrote a book called The Shallows. In it, he argues that the internet has fundamentally altered the structure of our brains. Instead of having brains wired for deep, sustained thought and focused concentration, which is what you need for reading, we are now instead wired to react to a constant stream of stimuli, hyperlinks, and interruptions on the internet. I remember years ago, when I first started clicking on web pages, how cool hyperlinks were. If I didn't understand the context of what I was reading, I could simply click a link and jump to another page and learn something else. But then I realized hyperlinks could also disrupt and distract from what I was reading. It made me more scatterbrained and it hurt my ability to focus. Nicholas Carr describes this nicely when he writes, "Once I was a scuba diver in the sea of words. Now I zip along the surface like a guy on a jet ski." Now, this all happened during the first wave of the internet. When smartphones came out, we now all had devices that captured our attention constantly. The algorithms built into the apps on the phone were designed to keep us hooked and addicted and draw our attention away from whatever else we may have been doing, such as reading a book. And now we have AI. Before ChatGPT came out, I was still the mindset that if I wanted to research and learn a difficult topic, I would start usually by trying to find different books on the subject and reading them. But with AI now, I can first get a quick summary of just about every topic and ask follow-up questions. No need to go to the library and find books on the topic. With AI, there isn't even a need anymore to visit different web pages or watch different videos. AI can now, in a matter of seconds, distill, summarize, and give you answers to just about any topic. Who has time now to read a Charles Dickens novel when AI can summarize it for you in seconds? Now, that said, I want to point out that it isn't just AI and the internet as a reason people are reading fewer books. I remember many years ago, being astonished that the president of a company that I worked for remarked that he hadn't read a book in years. I was astonished because he was a graduate of Princeton University and Harvard Business School. One would assume that someone with that pedigree would be into reading books. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. He was successful because he had specialized, valuable knowledge that isn't readily available in books. His time was better spent learning from real world experience and talking to people. So, back to the question, are books obsolete? And my answer is no, books are not obsolete. However, their role in our lives has evolved and they are less important now as valuable sources of information. That said, reading printed books are better for you if you want to develop focused attention and concentration. Studies show that people who read printed books have better comprehension and retention than people who read from digital screens. This makes sense when you consider that digital screens can cause eye strain, not to mention having distracting links that can quickly take your mind elsewhere. When I got my first Kindle e-reader over 15 years ago, I thought it was so cool that I now had hundreds of books at my fingertips. If I started to get bored reading one book, I could easily switch to another book without having to go to the library. But I noticed that this too affected my ability to concentrate and dive deeply on any book. Because most people today are easily distracted by digital devices, being able to focus and concentrate will give you an edge. So think of reading printed books as an important way you can develop your ability to get an edge by focusing and concentrating. Now, as a homeschooling parent of 3 kids, I've found that getting my own kids to appreciate and read books on their own is not easy. Then again, doing any type of useful discipline isn't easy, whether it's reading a book, eating healthy foods, or going to the gym. But if you can instill in your kids an appreciation for reading books, you will strengthen their ability to focus and think deeply and give them an edge over their peers. Books are not obsolete, but the fact that they are not as popular as before is the reason why reading them will give you and your kids an edge in the digital age. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to click subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.